Hey folks, this is Kelani. Whether you're wanting to push your DPS to get some of those purple or even orange passes, or if you're wanting to keep your entire raid alive by yourself, or maybe just be the sturdiest tank your server has ever seen, the key to doing your very best right now is the new Titan Essence system in the heart of Azeroth. Picking the right essences will give you a huge boost over the competition, but you're going to have to collect them, rank them up, and slot them into your heart before you can make any use of them. But what are the best essences in patch 8.2? Some are doing considerably better than the others, so let's have a look at which essences are heads and tails above the rest, what types of content they're absolutely destroying, and most importantly, where you can get your hands on them. Let's jump right in. Perhaps the most valuable and most powerful essence right now is the Condensed Life Force Essence. Both the major and minor powers of this essence are worth talking about, which makes it even more worth your while to pick this essence up. The major power provides you with a huge power boost on a decently long cooldown. You summon a Guardian of Azeroth for 30 seconds, which will attack your target with Azerite spikes every 2 seconds. When you upgrade this essence to rank 2, the Guardian will also start to cast an AoE Azerite volley every 8 seconds. This doesn't do much for the single target potential of the essence, but it does give you even more value when you have multiple targets to attack. At rank 3, you'll also gain up to 10% haste for the duration of the Guardian, which is another nice bonus, especially if your class happens to get a lot out of the haste stat. The minor power gives your attacks a chance to fire off those very same Azerite spikes. That's not super amazing on its own, just a bit of damage, but rank 2 will boost the damage of all Azerite spikes from you and your Guardian, so not too bad either, another bit of damage boost, but this essence really starts shining at rank 3. The minor power at rank 3 causes any and all Azerite spikes fired from you or your Guardian to increase the damage you deal to the target by 5% for 6 seconds. So let's tally that up, because it's a lot going on with this essence. That's 10% extra haste and 5% extra increased damage for the entire duration of the Guardian, plus 6 seconds of that plus 5% damage anytime you yourself fire off an Azerite shard, the extra damage of the Azerite shards themselves, plus the damage of the Guardian. That's a lot of things adding together, and the elemental isn't negligible. This elemental is going to bring the pain while it's active, and it can even start AoEing. It shouldn't be too surprising that with everything going on, this essence is simming as the highest DPS gain for single target for the vast majority of classes. No matter what class or spec you're playing, this essence is going to be a huge pickup when you finally do get your hands on it. Now, there are 2 issues with this essence right now. The first is where it comes from. You can only get this essence by combining a special item called Aqueous Reliquary that only drops from the Eternal Palace raid. For rank 1 you'll need 9 of these items, for rank 2 you'll need 18, and to finally get that rank 3 upgrade you'll need another 36. That's a grand total of 63 reliquaries to get a rank 3 Condensed Life Force Essence. That's a lot. They only come from 3 bosses in the instance: the Radiance of Azara, the Queen's Court, and Queen Azara herself. On normal mode you can expect 2 to 3 reliquaries per kill, and on heroic mode you can expect to see about 7 to 9 of these items. With Mythic opening up, I expect we will be able to gather them much faster if you can clear the appropriate Mythic bosses, which seem to be quite difficult right now, but for anyone who is stuck with just normal raiding, this is going to take a while. For anyone curious, you don't have to do multiple difficulties per week to maximize your reliquary gains. If you do heroic first, you'll get the 7 to 9 per boss. If you do normal first and get 3 items from each boss, when you go through on heroic mode, you'll actually only get 4 to 6 reliquaries, because you already looted some from normal. Basically, if you do the higher difficulties first, you don't have to do the lower ones at all. You won't get anything. The other problem is that this essence only really dominates at that rank 3 mark. So even though it is a really powerful essence, it doesn't become the most powerful until you upgrade it quite a bit. It's still a fantastic essence to pick up almost no matter what, and it's currently the most powerful essence for the majority of classes, especially in single target scenarios. So keep clearing the Eternal Palace as much as you can, and you'll get the rank 3 eventually. So with that being a bit of a long-term investment that should pay off later on down the road, providing it doesn't get nerfed, what are some other essences we can use for the time being? A great replacement for single target encounters is actually the essence you start off with. That's quite handy then really, isn't it? The Crucible of Flame allows you to fire off a quick fireball that does damage the more times you use it, and it resets after 3 casts. The damage from the effect is quite sizable, and as you rank it up you gain some damage over time components as well. Right now a lot of people will have rank 2 of the Crucible, which makes it a really great pickup for most single target encounters. All you have to do is get your heart to level 54 and complete the quests, and boom, rank 2 achieved. It's super quick and easy. Getting up to rank 3 is again pretty easy, but it's going to take some time. You need to get your heart to level 60 and do a few more quests. So that's another bit of a time investment, but it's a great stand-in until you can get those raid items to start crafting up the condensed life force. The minor power for the Crucible is okay, it provides you with a damage over time effect when you use your spells and abilities. I don't think it's really all that special until you get to rank 3 again, where it can start to stack on your targets to provide a good amount of DPS over time. Honestly, the most valuable part of this essence is that it's super easy to acquire and rank up. So if you don't have the raid one yet, the Crucible of Flame might just inch out ahead and be your best single target major essence for a little while. So that's 2 essences for single target already, but what about Cleave and AoE? If you're looking to gather up a whole bunch of mobs in a Mythic Plus dungeon and AoE them into dust, look no further than the Focusing Iris essence. Oh boy, even with the recent nerf, this essence is ridiculously strong. I don't think any other essence brings the same kind of firepower that scales with the number of monsters you're facing. Being able to gather up a large group and just nuke them all down is so satisfying, especially as a demon hunter. I fire off the mega laser first, and if anything survives, which it rarely does, I can I-beam right after. It almost feels like I'm cheating. The best part of this essence is that it's front-loaded. You get the majority of the damage from the very first rank, and it's super easy to obtain too. All you have to do is complete a +4 Mythic Plus dungeon and loot the chest at the end. Your essence should be waiting for you. Now you can go do a few more dungeons and blast everything to smithereens. It's fantastic. Rank 2 and 3 add some nice bonuses like a teeny bit more damage, a faster activation time, and you can use it while moving, but they're a little harder to get. Rank 2 is from a +7 or higher Mythic Plus dungeon and looting the chest at the end, so you should be able to get your hands on that one a bit easier, but rank 3 will come from your weekly cache. Depending on how high of a key you complete, you'll find a few focused life anima in your mythic weekly cache. You need 15 of these total. I think if you do a +10 key it will take 3 weeks because you get 5 of the anima in your chest. If you do a +15 key it actually only takes 2 weeks because you get 8 of the anima. So as you go higher and higher you'll get more anima, so it will take less time. Thankfully you don't need rank 3 to start popping off. Just grab the Iris Essence and use it on as many monsters as you can handle. Watch the huge DPS flow. The Minor Essence is alright, it provides a good boost of haste if you don't switch targets too often, so it's fairly easy to maintain for the most part, but the Major Power is what really shines through on this one. There is another interesting essence which you should definitely look into, even if your major slot is already locked in. The Memory of Lucid Dreams is another essence that is practically given to you, but you're going to have to put in quite a bit of effort if you want to rank it up. This essence revolves around resources, specifically allowing you to ignore those resources and restore them more often than usual. By the time you get to rank 3, this essence will give you a 2-minute cooldown that increases your main resource generation by 100% for 15 seconds. Now, depending on how your class's resource works, that's probably going to be absolutely amazing, or rather mediocre. For example, Shadow Priests rely on their insanity more than most classes rely on their resource, so the major power is going to be significantly more useful to a Shadow Priest. If you make use of a special resource, then the major might be something to look into, but honestly the minor power is actually what I want to talk about with this essence. The minor power gives you a 15% chance to refund 50% of the resources you spend on any of your abilities. Think about that for a second, because this is going to be different for everyone. For the Death Knights, they get runes refunded. For Shadow Priests, it's insanity. For Fire Mages, it's actually Fire Blast charges. For the rogues, it's energy. For the demon hunters, it's fury. You get the idea. If you were ever resource locked, like rogues with energy, this miner is going to be equipped 99% of the time. Allowing you to get more out of any resource you use is always going to be beneficial. Now, to get your hands on rank 2 and 3 of this essence, you're going to have to spend a lot of time down in Nazjatar. Rank 2 comes from the Nazjatar questline that requires you to earn 3000 bodyguard experience from completing your daily activities in the zone. That's not too bad, especially considering you should probably be getting the quests done in Nazjatar anyway. Rank 3 is even more time spent with your new bodyguard friends. You'll need to get the achievement Nautical Battlefield Training, and you get that by obtaining 6000 bodyguard experience in Nazjatar. So if you don't like bodyguards, or the dailies, or I guess just Nazjatar in general, this one is going to be a bit of a pain to get, but it might be worth it depending on what class you're playing. You might be able to ignore this one if your resource isn't super important, or if the essence just doesn't synergize well with your spec, but as a quick note, the minor power is also super useful for healers, as it always refunds mana, and what healer doesn't want more mana? And then if you're still looking for a minor essence to fill in a slot, you need to pick up the WORLDVEIN Resonance essence. I don't know if anyone really cares about the major power here, but the minor one is one of the best, if not the single best minor essence for raiding. The reason why it's so good for raiding is because you can benefit from other players' lifeblood shards. The major power allows you to forcefully summon a handful of shards, but you won't actually need it at all because you can only benefit from up to 4 shards at a time. The minor power spawns 1 shard every 18 to 25 seconds at rank 2 and every 1 to 25 seconds at rank 3. Because you can benefit from each other's shards, the more people who have the minor essence, the more shards that will be active. You actually only need 4 or 5 people to have the minor essence to get reliable stacks. This works particularly well for the melee because you're typically all standing really close to each other for the majority of the fight anyway, and each shard does have a bit of a radius on it, so you need to be within it to get the bonus. Each shard is currently worth nearly 200 primary stat, which scales with your Azerite level, so this will always be a valuable minor essence as you gear up and progress. So that's actually a huge chunk of primary stat if you have plenty of shards to make use of. Again, this only really works when quite a few people in your raid have the essence equipped, but it's some of the best DPS you can get out of a minor essence, and you only ever need the minor essence to fully benefit from the entire essence. And most of your melee should be running with it at the very least. It's a huge DPS upgrade over some other miners, so go get your hands on it. You might not like the source, though. This one comes from Island Expeditions and follower table missions. You just need to do enough Island Expeditions to get 15 scraps of the map, which really isn't all that many, then complete the follower mission that gets you rank 2. Rank 3 comes from doing your weekly island quest 3 weeks total, so really it's not too bad. It really isn't, even though Island Expeditions can be incredibly boring sometimes, but you only have to do them for 3 weeks, right? And think of all the artifact power you'll be getting along the way. It's totally worth it. Maybe. But it's not all about damage now, is it? Sometimes the healers out there want to be on top of their game as well. You'll be glad to know that there's some key essences that you can pick up to really up your game. One of the most important essences for healers is the Well of Existence. How this essence works is pretty simple. This little pancake will save up a portion of any overhealing you do until it turns into a shiny Azerite orb. You can use that overhealing in a couple of ways. The major power lets you pump all of the overhealing into one target, providing you with an insane single target heal on a super short cooldown. The minor effect will passively use up the overhealing to add on top of any heals you use on targets who are below 40% health or 50% health when you get the rank 2 version. That's pretty neato, especially if you rely on a lot of heal over time effects, which can easily end up overhealing your raid because the other healers sniped all your heals. This is another essence which works really well from its first rank, and the minor power is good enough to consider using it alone, even if it's not going to occupy that main major slot. It's also really easy to get. All you need to do is Mechagon Reputation. The essence comes from Honoured, Revered and Exalted with the Rust Bolt Rebellion, so the more rep farming you do, the better rank you can pick up. There's also the Lifebinder's Invocation essence. This one provides you with a small raid cooldown that can help keep all of your lovely guildies alive just a little bit longer. The essence revolves around a buff called Seed of Ionar. With the minor power, you have a chance to plant a seed in any player you heal. Sounds a bit naughty really, doesn't it? But these seeds will heal over time when you get the rank 3 essence, and they will also provide some decent healing if the target takes any damage. It's kind of like a priest's prayer of mending, but for everyone. The Major Power will allow you to distribute 30 of these seeds at rank 1 and 40 seeds at rank 2 every 3 minutes. This can be super valuable if your raid is lacking a healing cooldown or two, because your healers can just swap around their essences to take the one that's best for the job. If you need the extra healing across your entire raid team, then swap on over to the Lifebinder's Invocation and laugh as your healing goes through the roof. You get this essence in the same way as the Focusing Iris from the DPS section, a +4 Mythic Plus dungeon for rank 1, a +7 for rank 2, and then you're collecting Focused Life Anima weekly to get the rank 3. And then we wouldn't be able to do anything at all without the tanks. They take the brunt of the damage, keeping the rest of us healthy, and there are also some top-notch essences to help with that very noble goal. One essence that every tank should be working towards is AZEROTHS' Undying Gift. This provides you with an additional damage mitigation cooldown, which is available quite often. At rank 3, you will get 40% damage reduction for 2 seconds, and then 20% damage reduction for 2 seconds after that. With a 45-second cooldown, that's a pretty insane tank cooldown right there. I don't think I really need to say anything else, but the minor cooldown is also super useful. If you drop below 35% health, you get a large increase to your armor for a brief period of time. Hopefully that's enough of a stopgap for your healers to get you back to full health, and if not, well, at least you'll survive a little bit longer before falling over. There is a catch, however. This tank essence is the Eternal Palace essence. That means you'll need to pick up the Aqueous Reliquaries from the 3 bosses in the new raid that drop them. It is a bit of a long haul, but I've managed to get my hands on rank 2 of both the DPS essence and the tanking essence at this point, so if you're full clearing heroic, you should get there in no time. Another super cool essence for tanks is the Anima of Life and Death. This one will see a lot more use in Mythic Plus because of how it scales with additional targets. At rank 3 you can deal 10% of your max health as damage to all mobs around you, and heal for up to 50% of your max health, 10% per mob hit, so you need to hit 5 mobs to get that max, on a 2-minute cooldown. That's a huge burst of damage and a huge burst of healing. You could go from no health up to half in a split second, and hopefully your heal will take care of the rest. As you gain more stamina from better gear and from upgrading your Heart of Azeroth, this essence will scale alongside you. It's definitely one of the better offensive options that you have as a tank in dungeons from what I've seen, so it's a great one to pick up. This is the Tank Mythic Plus essence, so +4 for the first rank, +7 for the second rank, and the third comes from collecting the special item from your weekly cache. Just get some Mythic Plus dungeons done, and you'll get rank 3 eventually. And that's all I wanted to share in this video. There are some outliers out there, so it's always important to check with your class discords, or Icy Veins, or Wowhead, or wherever happens to be the best info for your classes. I know some of the class resources can be hit or miss sometimes. It all just depends on how many people are theory crafting, getting together, and running sims for your class. I'd check more than one source and compare it to your own findings, but the essences listed in this video are a fantastic place to start for pretty much everyone. Getting any of them at rank 3 will give you a huge boost to your performance in the areas of the game where those particular essences excel right now. Are you going after any essence in particular at the moment? How many essences have you managed to get at rank 3? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.